We're here today to show you how easy it is to install and assemble the new X-Factor plow system from Kolpin. The X-Factor plow is the first complete bolt-together plow system on the market. Here's all the parts that will come in your X-Factor box. You have the forward mount system with the hardware here, the push tubes and the brackets that go along with that, the plow blade, there's 3 pieces, and all the hardware that goes along with that. We're going to start by showing you how to assemble the blade. One thing to remember when you're doing this is to not fully tighten the nuts until the end of the assembly. We'll start with the 2 blade halves and the center X. The ones I use 3/4 inch long bolts are these center 6 and these bottom 2. So go ahead and put those in. Now once you have those 8 bolts in, we're going to set that aside for now and go over to the rear blade mount. These plates here and these brackets, these will take 1-inch bolts. There are 4 of them used on here. Okay, we're going to attach the blade to the rear brackets. Start by attaching this top bracket with a 1-inch bolt. Now we'll go ahead and attach the wear bars to the bottom. This first bolt is a 1-inch bolt. Then the second bolt on here will go through your slide shoe with a 1 1/4 inch bolt. Now that all the bolts are put together loosely, I'm going to go back and tighten everything down. As you're tightening the bolts on the wear bar, make sure you leave the bolts for the slide shoes loose until final assembly. Now we're going to start to assemble all the push tube components. We're going to start with the left and right brackets, the winch bracket, and the handle. Start by putting your 1 1/2 inch bolt, a fender washer, your handle, another fender washer, the right bracket, and then finally the winch bracket. Go ahead and put your nut on finger tight. Do not tighten that down yet. Now we're going to assemble the pivot assembly. You're going to use your hex head bolt. You're going to grab your handle assembly, and the end of your handle assembly will fit down in a slot. And these 4 holes will line up with the bottom plate. Simply put that over. Use your internal tooth washer and a lock nut. Just finger tight that. Come up to the front and you're going to use 1-inch bolts. onto your handle, pull it back and hook it on the loop back here. Now we're grabbing push tubes and the attachment plate. These take a 2 1/4 inch bolt and fender washers. I will attach the pivot assembly to the push tubes. Again, the 2 1/4 inch bolt. Put your fender washer on the inside and your nut. Now I'm going to go ahead and tighten all the fasteners. Now when you're tightening down this nut, get it tight and back off the nut a half turn to allow your handle to freely move. When you get this nut tight, go ahead and back it off a half turn as well. That'll allow the pivot plate to freely spin. Now that we have all of our hardware tightened, we're going to attach the push tube assembly to the plow plate. You're going to use your 5/8 carriage bolt. Your bushing with the square cutout. And 2 flat washers. Finger tight your 9-lock nut. Now go ahead and tighten up your bolts. Now we're going to attach the eye bolts and the blade springs. Start by putting a nut on your eye bolt and a standard washer. We're going to put the eye bolt with the washer and nut on the back. These can be left loose for now. We're going to go ahead and attach our spring to our push tube frame and the other half to our eye bolt. Now after that's attached, we're going to set our blade stop. Notice there's 6 holes on here for adjustable stop heights. We'll just put it on this one for now. Here we use our socket head screw and a standard nut. Now we're going to tighten down our socket head cap screw. Now that we have our plow assembly all tightened up, we're going to go ahead and put our Kolpin universal forward mount on the ATV. Remember to use safety and caution when you're assembling this underneath your ATV. We're underneath the 4-wheeler here, showing you where to put your forward mount on. Look on the bottom of your ATV and find where the frame tapers back towards the rear of the ATV. Your forward mount will go right at that taper, with the bottom plate and the top plate above it. Then we'll use the hex head bolts with the spacers, and then just a washer and a nut on the top. Just finger tighten that hardware. We'll go and put 3 more on. Once you have your hardware on loosely, go ahead and slide the hardware in towards the frame of the ATV and begin to tighten them down. This is how the forward mounts look on your ATV. We also include U-bolts to use on certain makes and model of ATVs. Now we have the forward mount attached to our ATV and our plow blade is assembled. We can attach the blade to the forward mount using the clevis. Now that we have our plow attached to our ATV, we're ready to hook up our winch. The winch is the most common method of raising and lowering a plow. We're going to use the forwardmost opening. Now if you don't have a winch, Kolpin does offer a manual lift. Now that we have the winch attached, we can raise and lower the blade. We can come down and adjust our skid shoes to the desired height that we want. And that wraps up the installation and assembly of the Kolpin X Factor.